समारंभां शंकराचार्यमध्यमां अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानां करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतो वन्दे भगवन्तं पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिनि व्योमव्याप्तदक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। नारायणं पद्मभं वसिष्ठं शक्तिं च तत्पुत्रपराशरं च व्यासं शुकं गौडपदं महान्तं गोविन्दयोगीन्द्रमथास्य शिष्यं श्रीशङ्कराचार्यमथास्य पद्मपादं च हस्तामलकं च शिष्यं तन्तोऽपिकं वार्तिकपारम्यानस्मत्कुरुं सन्ततमानतोऽस्मि यत्साक्षात् सच्चिदानन्दं प्रत्यगद्वयमक्रियं तन्नमामि श्रीयोगिगम्यं प्रपदम् खानिलाग्निं दरिद्रन्तं सर्पणियोगिपतं यथा ध्वान्तच्छिदे नमस्तस्मै हरे बुद्धिसाक्षिणे Shri Guru Namaha. Maybe this lighting is better. Can have changed the direction. So yeah, this lighting is better, I think. Okay. So where were we? That's a big question. Twaliyate bhagavati sprushati 60. I marked it. Oh, here, Asya Parna. Parihara, 62nd verse. So 61st verse. What is the Sandarbha? We took a break. So what is the Sandarbha? Started with the Purva Paksha saying, Aham Brahmasmi. First he said what? Mam Aham Janami. In Mam Aham Janami, Mam and Aham are both Atma. Siddhanti said no. Mam is Ahankara and Aham is Atma. So Atma is Sakshi of Ahankara. They are not the same. The Ahankara Dharma is not in Atma. Then the Purva Pakshi said that in Aham Brahmasmi, it won't work if Aham means Ahankara. Because Ahankara cannot be Brahma. So Ahankara has to mean Pratyagatma. So this is Siddhanti said, you are right, but it is not in the Vachyartha meaning. Pratyagatma is not the Vachyartha meaning of Aham. So that in Aham Brahmasmi, Aham means Ahankara Sahita Atma. That Jiva, Pratyagatma is there, but main meaning is Ahankara, Rudyartha, or Atma also in the Sandarbha. So here you have to say Ahankara Sahita Atma, Sukshma Sharira, Pratibimbita Atma. Avidya and Sukshma Sharira, Pratibimbita Atma. That Pratyagatma, Shodhana has to be done of the Tvam Padartha, and then through Lakshana you land on that mean. Lakshartha is Pratyagatma, Vachyartha is Ahankara Sahita Atma, Pratyagatma. Then we have seen the progression as to why Aham as Atma cannot be the meaning of Aham Shabda, Ahankara. Ahankara is the meaning and Atma is not the meaning directly. So we have seen the various verses as to what yeah, I think the Sandarbha went back long back. So we were at 61st. So here 60th and 61st we can have a look. So now here in this context now, so in the analysis, how we landed here in the Shunyavada now is the Purva Pakshi was told that Atma is not the direct meaning. If at all you take Ahankara as Atma Dharma, then Atma will become Vikari. Moksha, basically what moksha will not be possible. So here we see the Siddhanti. See, Imam Prashnikam Uddishya Tarkajwara Prashaturaha Twachiraska Vachojalehi Mohayanti Iteretaram. So how did we land here? Then after showing all the doshas as to how moksha will not be possible if you take the Ahankara Dharma as Atma Dharma, as Atma's Dharma, moksha will not be possible. And if you say Drishya and Drug, you don't maintain the Bheda, Drug can become Drishya and Drishya can become Drug. Then what will happen? Because Drishya Bheda we have seen. If Drishya Dharma are in Drug or Drug becomes Drishya, if at all that is the case, then moksha won't be possible. This is what we had seen. Therefore, what? Atma, what the Siddhanti has said is right. This is what was the Sandarbha established. To this, the Madhyastha said that We have seen refutation of each other's darshanas all the way. Therefore, I don't have Shraddha in anything. Whom should I believe? So Siddhanti said, here Siddhanti had said, Uchyate Visrabdai Sambhavyatam. So he said that Sarvatarkikaihi Adushitam Samarthitam Sarvatarkika Upadrava Apasarpanaya Vartma Na Sambhava Nacha. So he said that there is no single path which is agreeable to with all tarka. Two tarkikas using any tarka, there is no adushta darshana at all. Siddhanti said, no, our darshana is based in Shruti, therefore, Visrabdaihi Sambhavyatam. Confidently we accept this as the Vedanta darshana is the right darshana. And then he said that don't get confused by the Tarkikas. So, Imam Prashnikam Uddishya, Tarkajvara Brushaturaha, Twachiraska, Vachojalihi, Mohanti, Itaretram. They confuse each other. Don't get into that Mohajala. So, Mohayanti, therefore it is Vachojala is Mohajala really. So, Vagjala will lead to Mohajala, therefore don't get stuck there. This was the Sandarbha 59th, whereby now the Shunyavadi has come up. So, he says, what? Here there was a let it be so. There was some paksha like that, and then Shunyavadi says Atma won't be there. Shunyavadi said let it not be there. So Anubhavitritve Vivadam Ashankate Atrapi Chodayanti. Anubhavatmanaha api Vikriya Abhyupagame Anabhyupagame api Dosha eva Yasmad Aha. So this the Shunyavadi brought up his two Purvapaksha shlokas. Varsha tapabhyam, atapabhyam, Varsha and atapabhyam, kim vyomnas charmaniva tayoho phalam, charma upamaschet saha anitya khatulyaha ched asat samaha. And buddhi janmani pumsascha vikrutir yadi anityata, then atha avikrutihi eva ayam pramata iti na yujyate. So, Purvapakshi, two shlokas put together, what the Shunyavadi is saying is that Varsha and Atapa. So, you take cold and heat, however. So, here he says, Vyomnas Charmaniva Tayo Phalam. There is no, is it like Akasha? Is Atma like Akasha? Or is it like Charma? Varsha and Atapa afflict the Charma. So, if at all you say Atma is like Charma, like skin, like tvacha, then what will happen? Atma will become vikari. Vikrutihi, pumsascha vikrutihi. So buddhi janmani. In the exemplified buddhi janmani. When there is buddhi vikruti, then due to association like charma, Atma will also undergo vikara. Therefore, anityata, there will be anityata in Atma. Atha avikrutihi. If you say no, this Atma is avikari and khatulya, he says asat sama. It will become asat. So either Atma will become like Akasha and asat, or it will be like Charma, Charman, and will become vikari. This is the akshepa. Now further in the next verse, 62nd verse, Pratibandhi Nyayana Akshepam Parihariti. There is a Pratibandhi Nyaya that the Siddhanti uses. What is Pratibandhi Nyaya? We had seen, Samanyaya, Tulya. So what was said here as what? Tulya Yukti. So Tulya Yukti. So Tulya Yukti is used. He says, to answer your question, I will ask you. Siddhanti says, I'll ask you, Asya Pariharaha, Urdvam Gacchati Dhumekham, Vidyate Svinna Vidyate, न विद्यते चेत् स्तास्नुत्वं विद्यते चेत् भिदास्य का ऊर्ध्वं गच्छति धूमे खम भिद्यते स्वित् न भिद्यते चेत् स्तास्नुत्वं भिद्यते चेत् भिदा अस्य का. So Siddhanti asks with a Pratibandhi Nyaya with Tulya Yukti. He says, if Atma is like this, then this is the conclusion. If Atma is like that, that is the conclusion. This is your Akshepa with the Akasha example. Now I'll ask you, What do you understand by Akasha? Siddhanti says, let me see what is your understanding of Akasha. So with the similar Nyaya, he puts a question. He says, Urdhvam Gacchati. What is the Vibhakti Gacchati here? Any idea? Many days we have not done any Vyakarana. Gacchati. Urdhvam Gacchati. Dhume.
Gacchati is latlakara. Gacchati. Gam dhatu.
That's what it appears as. It's Saptami Ekvachana of Gachat. Trick question. Chatranta Pada.
Okay.
So, Dhume Gacchati. Gacchati Dhume means what? When the smoke, when. So, what does it mean? Yada Dhumaha Urdhvam Gataha Ityartha. Yada. Yada and Tada. Sati Saptami. It is Sati Saptami. Sati Saptami is what? Yada Tada. You convert it to Prathama and understand it is Yada Tada. So, he says, this kham is Akasha. So Siddhanti asked, when the smoke rises, dhuma, when dhume gacchati urdhvam, urdhvam gacchati, dhume urdhvam gacchati sati, when the smoke comes up, where is it going to come up? In Akasha. So that Akasha kham vidyate swit na vidyate. Swit is va, in va artha, akshep artha here. Kim. So in Ishavasya, you see, kasya swit dhanam. So swit, there has, Bhagavan Bhashyakara, there says swit has no meaning, anartha. Or another meaning is what? Vitarke. Swid vitarke. So swidi vitarke here, kham vidyate, swin na vidyate. You tell me, is when the smoke comes up, does the Akasha make way, split to make way for the smoke or not? Then I'll answer your question. So what do you think? Because it's, when you say it, is it like Akasha? And when you conclude, if it is like Akasha, then Asat. So Siddhanti asks, you tell me, will Akasha split or not split to make way for smoke? So you gave me an Ubhaya Pasharajju, I'll also give you an Ubhaya Pasharajju. Na vidyate chet. If at all you say, no, Akasha, how will Akasha split? If you say that, then stasnutvam. Akasha, being so, Dhuma cannot go ahead. Dhuma has to remain where it is. It cannot go up. So, urdhvam na gacchati ityartha. Dhumaha urdhvam na gacchati. If Akasha does not make the way, stasnutvam. Vidyate ched asya khasya akashasya bhidaka. You have to tell me what is the division of Akasha. What is meant by Akasha makes way, divides, makes way for the smoke. What does it mean? What is the dividing factor? You have to explain that. So either case, you see Dhuma is going up. So you cannot say no, the Akasha is not making way. And you cannot say Akasha is making way also. So either way, you are in a fix as well. So the Tarka can go only that far, thus far. Iti etat pratipatyartham aha. Further, what in the Tika? So this is the next verse introduction. Sambandhokti. Stasnutvam. What is stasnutvam? Dhumasya styat. It will remain still. Na alokadi pratimasya eva iti sheshaha. So he says, the Dhuma will remain as it is. Alokadi pratimasya, alokadi pratima yasya. So tasya eva iti shesha dhumasya. Meaning what? The aloka is the prakasha itself. What do you see there? All of that is included there. Dhuma is an example there. So here it says, stasnutvam dhumasya styat na alokadi pratimasya eva iti shesha. Not that alokadi pratima as it is. This Dhuma will also remain like that. Stasnutvam will be there for Dhuma also. Like the prakasha which remains as it is, you will see Dhuma also remain as it is. Further what? Bhedadi vikaram antarene eva dhumadehe akasham avakasha swarupene eva dari drishyate ityartah. He says, Bhedadi vikaram antarene eva. But what is the fact? Without the Akasha undergoing Veda, without Akasha being divided, Antareneva, without that also, not also, eva. Indeed, without the division in Akasha, Dhumadehe Akasham Avakasha Swarupeneva Daridrishyate ityartah. There's a tippana here. Dhumah urdhvam gacchati sati kham akasham avakasha danaya bhidyate vidirnam bhavati va nava. So this is the question. Kham is akasham. The akasha, whether, because what is akasha? Lakshana of akasha is what? Avakasha pradatru. Akasham avakasha pradatru. Without akasha, nothing can happen. Even for the Sukshma Vayu to be there, Akasha is needed. If you say, okay, let me set up some business, so you need a place. So Akasha is that which provides an opportunity for anything to happen, any Kriya to happen, any Dravya to be there. For everything, Akasha is needed. That is why it is the Prathama Srishta Padartha. So here, Avakasha Danaya, will Akasha Vidirnam Bhavati Vanava? न भवति चेत धूमस्य स्थास्नुत्वम न ऊर्ध्वगति स्यात्. Dhuma cannot go up, it will remain as it is. Bhavati chet, if at all Akasha splits, then Kasya Bhida means what? Na Kachit Vibhaga Lakshana Kriya. Why? Samavaitva Bhavat. So Tarka Bhasha, he says, there is no way that Akasha can split. Why? Because what can split? Like Ghata, if you take Ghata can split. Why? Because it is made of Kapaladvaya. They are Samavai Karana. Samavai Karana means basically what Samavai Karana you can take for our Vedanta understanding. Those who don't know Tarka, there is a Tarkikas don't talk about Mrud directly. They talk about Kapaladvaya as immediate Karana of the Ghata. So two parts of the pot are put together and they are joined. So that is the immediate Karana. So we'll say material cause. Upadana Karana, that is called as Samavai, not exactly one-on-one mapping, but something like that. You can say something like that. So here, Samavaitva Abhavat, Akasha does not have any parts which have come together to make Akasha. Akasha is one single Padartha without any parts which have come together. It is a Vyapaka Tattva. So here, Kachit Vibhag Lakshana Kriya Nasti, Kasya Vida means Akshepartikim. Iti Chandrika Krud Vyakhya. So there is a Chandrika Vyakhya is like this. So Bhedadi Vikaran Mantrane Dhumadehe Akasham Avakasha Swarupeneva Daridrishyate ityartha. By very Swarupa, it appears to make way without actually undergoing division. So Atma is like that. Atma, without undergoing any Vikriya in the Udavartha, appears to undergo Vikara. Appears, not real. Akasha appears to make way for Dhuma. Akasha does not have any Vida. So this is the idea. Etavata kim uttaram bhavati ityatah. Okay, so what is the answer? I mean, you're talking about Akasha. I am asking about Atma. You are talking about Akasha. So Siddhanti says, okay, what I want to say is this. Iti etat pratipatyartham. Why I brought this question, I'll tell you, says this Siddhanti. Iti etat pratipatyartham. For this understanding, he says what? Further, in the 63rd verse, avikriyasya bhoktrutvam syadaham buddhi vibramat navyana vibramat yadvat nageshu gati kalpanam. So he says, avikriyasya bhoktrutvam. How? Just like in the example, akashasya khasya akashasya yatha bhida tatha avikriyasya. There also what? Avikriyasya akashasya. Bhedaraitasya akashasya samavitva abhava vatvasya akashasya yatha bhida tatha avikriyasya atmanah bhoktritvam. Syad aham buddhi vibramat. Navyana vibramat, single word, yadvat nageshu gati kalpano, again single words. So yatha आकाशस्य अविक्रियस्य आकाशस्य भेदा तथा अविक्रियस्य आत्मनः भोक्तृत्वं स्यात्. Why? What is the hetu here? Aham buddhi vibrama. There what? Dhuma urdhva gamana vibramat. Dhuma goes up. There is a vibrama that Akash has split. Similarly here, aham buddhi vibramat, because of the aham buddhi, like the dhumastaniya aham buddhi, ahankara, which has changes. Vikari. Vikari aham buddhi vibramat. Avikriyasya atmanah bhoktrutvam syat. Not really. That is possible. Just like it is possible there, why it is not possible here? In the case of Akasha, it is possible. Avikriya Akasha can as though make way for Dhuma. Similarly, Avikriya Atma can as though have Bhoga without undergoing change. So if you say, Asat Syat, or, in the case of the Atma here, what did you say? One case, Asat, if it is like Akasha. If it is like Charma, then it is what? It is Vikari. Siddhanti said it is not Vikari. Bhoktrutva Vikara is not there. But Syat. Aham Buddhi Vibramat Syat. Vibrama, Vishesha Brahma is sitting there. Vishesha Brahma. We have Anubhava, but does not make it real. There is a Vishesha Brahma. He gives another example. How? Navyana Vibramat Yadvat. Yadvat, just like Navyana is Nauka, boat. So he says, when the boat is moving, Bhagavan Bhashyakara gives this example. When you are moving in a boat or a train or whatever, vehicle, car, whatever, you see mountains placed at a distance. Mountains at a distance are moving. Mountains cannot move, but it appears as though mountains are moving. Very, commonly known example. Nageshu. Nagachyati iti nagaha. Naga is what? Nagachyati. Does not move. So, but here is a Vishesh Samasa. So, maybe Prushodhara Sadhu. Because it should be Aga, not Naga. So here, does not move. So that is the mountain. Mountain trees, you can take trees also with Rudi Artha. Bhagavan Bhashyakara gives the example of trees also there. I think Gita somewhere it is there. So Gati Kalpanam. Nageshu, Yadvat Nageshu Gati Kalpanam. Why? Navyana Vibramat. Tatha. So you can take it with the earlier shloka also. And here Sakshat example is there. So Anvaya would be what? Yadvat Nageshu Gati Kalpanam, or Yadvat Nageshu Gati Kalpanam Navyana Vibramat Bhavati or Syad. Tatha, you can add Tatha or Tadvat. Avikriyasya Atmanah, in brackets, Atmanah Bhoktrutvam Aham Buddhi Vibramat Syat. So because the boat is moving, it appears as though the unmoving mountains are moving. Similarly, what? Immovable Atma, Avikriya Atma, seems to have Bhoktrutva because of Aham Buddhi. Oh, Ahankar feels I am, Aham Buddhi has Bhoga there. And then Atma thinks that Atma, there is an appearance of Atma, not Atma thinks. Atma is thought of as having Bhoktrutva. Further in the Tika, Aham Buddhi. So etaveta kim uttaram bhavati? He says aham buddhi. What is aham buddhi? Aham pratyaya. Aham vikara, that ahankara. Aham, that notion of I, individuality. Tannimittaha vibramaha. So aham buddhi, vibrama is what? Is a madhyapadalopi samasa. Aham buddhi meaning aham pratyaya and nimittaha vibrama. Nimitta yasya vibramasya. Sa vibrama is what? Aham buddhi vibramaha. Aham buddhi, and then you make karma dharya. Aham buddhi vibrama is aham buddhi is the nimitta. Ahankara is the nimitta for the vishesha brahma in atma. That is the samasta pada aham buddhi vibramaha. Tasmat. Tasmat. Sukha dukkhadi parinamitvena bhoktara antakaranena abheda adhyasat bhokta iti vibramaha. So here, bhoktru antakarana. Antakarana is bhokta. Bhoktru antakaranena abhedat or bhoktra antakarana. Both are samastapada. If you take also, it will work. Bhoktra antakarana. Yeah. Or here you'll take separately. Bhoktra is tritiya also. Antakarana is in tritiya. So antakaranena bhoktra. Antakarana is the bhokta. How? Sukha dukkhadi parinamittvena. Sukha dukkha parinama. Sukha dukkha, lova, moha, ityadi, all of these parinama are there in antakarana. So this is the bhoga. Sukha bhogi is and dukkha bhogi, bhokta is antakarana really. Not antakarana. Antakarana cannot have bhoga really. Jadatvat. Antakarana is jada. How can jada antakarana have bhoga? In the presence of Atma. This should be understood. Not independently. In the presence of Atma, Sakshi, Kutastha Chaitanya, just like Atma here, we have seen the example what Atma seems to be Bhokta in the presence of Vikari, Bhoktru, Antakarana, Buddhi, Buddhi. Other way also true. In the presence of the Kutastha Atma, Buddhi comes to life, Antakarana comes to life, Asti, Bhati, Priya, all of these is what? Antakarana, Adhyasa dharma of Atma. Because Adhyasa is both ways. Satta, Chitta and Ananda or Anantata, Anantyam is superimposed on Buddhi. Anantya is not superimposed really, but nobody thinks of death really. So I am there, I exist, all that. And other way around, Atma, I am going to die. When Antakarana or Sharira is going to die, then I am going to die. That is the Brahma. So both ways Adhyasa is there. Anyonya. Anyonya Atmakatam, Anyonya. Adhyasya. So here, so Dharma Adhyasa and Dharmi Adhyasa, both are there. Both ways. So that is the Avidya Granthi. It is, mixed up so much that it is one-sided you cannot do. And you cannot think from both sides together. Very difficult. That is why it is difficult. See, if you like the Marjara Nyaya and the Markata Nyaya, if the monkey is holding the baby monkey is holding the mother, that's one Nyaya. The other Nyaya is the cat, Marjara, mother is holding the baby with its teeth. So which is better? So there is an analysis there. So Bhaktas talk about it like the Divine Mother, Bhagavan is holding you, then you are really free. You are taken care of. Because you can leave Bhagavan anytime, like the monkey. Sometimes the baby monkeys, when they are holding their mother and the mother jumps, they can drop. If the grip is not strong, it can drop. So the Bhakta may lose hold of Bhagavan if bhakti is from this side and Bhagavan does not care for you. It is not enough. Meaning the bhakti comes and goes. So you can drop off. So there can be, pramada. Pramado hi mrityu. But bhaktas say when Bhagavan holds you, you completely surrender. Bhagavan holds you. So you are not holding, you are not scared. Like the cub, the kitten. So kitten is held by her mother. So it's mother. So that is the grip. Now here Ahankara, Maya mother is holding you, not Bhagavan. Maya mother is holding us. There is one grip. And we have the other way holding also. We are also hugging the mother, like the Markata. So the difficulty is not one way. Here you have Markata Nyaya and Marjara Nyaya together in the Avidya Granthi. So that Vishesha Brahma is that. Very difficult to, come out. It's not easy. It can be easy, but it is not easy. There is a lot of preparation needed. So that's what Janma Janmantara they say. So here, Bhoktra Antakaranena Abhedadhyasat. Tadatme is there. Therefore, both ways. Dharma Adhyasa, Dharmi Adhyasa is both ways. Therefore, Bhokta iti Vibrama. So there is a Atma Aham. Atma is what? Real Aham. I am Bhokta. When Antakarana is not me, but still, due to Tadatmya Sambandha, Adhyasa, I am Bhokta. This is the Vibrama, Vishesha Brahma. And Nauyana Nimitta Vibrama, Vibramaha. The Madhyapada Lopi Samasta is shown. Samasapada. Because here Aham Pratyaya Nimittaha Vibrama, Aham Buddhi is Aham Pratyaya, And aham buddhi nimitta vibrama is aham buddhi vibrama. Similarly, here was nauyana nimitta vibrama, nauyana vibrama. Here also, madhyama padalopi samasa. Gati kalpanam is what? Gachanti naga iti adhyavasaya. The wrong conclusion as to nagaha gachanti. Oh, look at those trees are moving, the mountains are moving. There is a Brahma. This is the Nauyana Nimitta Vibrama because the boat is moving. So this is the 63rd verse. In the 64th introduction, Siddhanti says, the Tikakara says, Na kevalam Vibrama eva drishtanta. With this example, the Ansha is not only Vibrama, that there is a delusion of the mountains moving. Look at what is not moving also. That is also the example. The Nauyana is moving, Nagas are not moving, but there is a Brahma of Nagas moving. But you should not miss out in the example that Nagas are not moving. That is the real example. Second part of the example, that also has to be understood. Therefore, he says, with single example, both you have to see. There is a Brahma of movement. What does it mean? When there is a Brahma of movement, that means that the entity where there is Brahma of movement, that entity is not moving. Therefore, न केवलं विभ्रम एव दृष्टान्त किन्तु वास्तव अपि इत्याह. Vastava, what is that Vastava? Really, what is the in-moving is the example as well. Yathokta iti. In the Sambandhokti, Mulakara says Yathokta Artha Avishkaranaya Drishtantantara Upadanam. So, Grahanam, another example has been taken up to show that there is another part to the example to be understood. That is also an example. So, with another example, it is shown how the Nagas are immovable in that example. If you have missed out, I'll give another example. Says the Siddhanti. Similarly, Atma is not moving. There is a Brahma of movement, Bhoktrutva, movement in Atma, Vikara. Movement is what? Vikara in Atma, but it is not so because it is Vibrama. So what is the Vastava Sthiti? Vastava Sthiti is Atma is Abhokta, Avikari. So here Avikriya, to show that another example. Yatha Jatyamane Shubhraha. Just a minute. Yatha Jatyamane Shubhra Jwalanti Nischala Shikha. So this is Ekavachana. I was seeing whether it is Ekavachana or Bahuvachana. Sanyadya Sannidhaneshu Ghatadinam Avikriya. So Strilinga Ekavachana. Shikha. So here Padachida Yatha Jatyamanehe Shubhra Jwalanti Nischala Shikha. No Padacheda. Sannidya Sannidhaneshu. No Padacheda there also. Ghatadina Avikriya. That's all. Ghatadina Avikriya is a Padacheda. So he says, an example is given. So here there is a Jatyamani, okay? There is some Jatyamani is, Jatya is of a particular Jati, Ucha Jati, a particular category of money, some gem which shines a lot. So much so that it will shine to light up others. Okay? So that is the example here. Shubhra Yatha Jatyamanehe Shubhra Jwalanti Nischala Shikha. Just like the Shikha. Shikha is the Visheshya Pada here. Visheshanas are Shubhra, Jwalanti and Nischala. So the Shikha means like the rays. It appears like a flame. When a gem is shining, a particular gem, when it is shining, it appears like there's a flame. So we'll take it as Shikha is what? The shine, the luster. That Shikha is Nischala. It is not moving really. Appears to be moving. Jwalanti, as though a flame is burning, Shikha. The Shikha is a shape really. That shape, Shikha, you will call it as Shikha. And then it is not moving, Nischala, but Jwalanti, burning, Shubhra, brightly. That kind of a brightly burning, immovable flame or luster of the Jatyamani, Yatha. Similarly, no, not similarly, Yatha. Similar, that Tatha may come up later. Sannidhi asannidhaneshu. Sannidhi and asannidhana. So he's not used sannidhi and asannidhi, but in the same meaning, lut has been used. So sannidhi, proximity, and asannidhi, not having any proximity of what? Ghatadinam. Ghatadinam, sannidhi asannidhaneshu, avikriya. So this yatha jatyamanehe avikriya. So this Shubhra Jwalanti Nischala Shikha is avikriya. Shikha yatha jatyamane. See, basically, what is the basic sentence? Yatha jatyamanehe shikha avikriya. Avikriya is what here? Bahuri. Vigataha kriyaha yasyaha shikhaya sa shika avikriya. It is without any kriya. Avikriya means you can also say what avikriya is with the karmani utpatti. It is that is which is not moving. That also we can take. So if you take kriya meaning as it is, then you can take bahuri. Or vikriya, here you say what? That it is not moving. Basically, the idea is it is not moving with karmani utpatti also. So here, if you take bhave, then you'll say it is bahuri, or take karmani also, and it is like what? Vikriya. Here vikriya is bahuri. Vikriya need not be bahuri. You can get the meaning with vikriya itself. But if you take kriya as bhave, then bahuri. Idea is what? The shika is not moving. Just like the jatyamani, the nischala jwalanti shubhra shikha also is avikriya really. How avikriya? So there is with avikriya to see kriyavati also. How? Ghatadinam sannidhi asannidhaneshu. When there is a sannidhi of ghata, etc., then it appears as though it is lighting up. There is luster there. It has meaning. See, there are, let's say, Agni. Agni, there are two dhatus used with Agni now. What is it? Agnihi dahati. Agni burns. And Agni, not burns, Agni dahati one, and another is Agnihi jwalati. So when you say Agni jwalati, what does it mean? Agni is burning by itself, right? Or it is shining. Agni is shining, you'll say. Jwalati. Look at it, the fire is burning. But when you say dahati, then it is sakarmaka. Jwalati is not sakarmaka. Jwalati means what? Agni is burning or lit up. Agni is lit up or burning. But when you say Agni is dahati, when you say, then it is burning others. In Hindi, it is better. In English, very difficult to explain this concept. So I'll say, because dahati and jwalati, very difficult to see the meaning in English. In Hindi, let's say, Agni jal rahi hai. That is what? Jwalati. And Agni jala rahi hai. That is dahati. So dahati has the meaning of jwalayati. Not jwalati, jwalayati. Jwalati means it burns. And dahati means it burns the other. Now, ghatadina, when you say similarly, what? The jatyamani is shining. Is shining. So there it is akarmaka. Shining is akarmaka. So shika avikriya jwalanti. That's all. But when you say shubhra jwalanti and then you say it is lighting up others, ghatadina, then you say what? Not only jwalanti, but not jwalayati here, but prakashayati. Say here jwalanti is the meaning of what? Here this is shatranta pada, okay? Strilinga shatranta, jwalati, jwalanti. So the jatyamani is shining and is lighting up the ghata. There is a difference in meaning. When there are ghatas, etc., then you'll say, oh, look at it. In the presence of the jatyamani, you take a lamp. Here, the example of lamp, jatyamani is not easy to see if we have not seen such a gem. So let's say a lamp. Lamp is shining and lamp is lighting up the ghatadi. So when the ghatadis are there, when the pot etc. is in, there is some padartha in the presence of the light, then you say the lamp is lighting up the pots etc. padarthas, objects. Basically what? The lamp is lighting up the objects. In their absence, you'll just say lamp is shining. So what changed? The lamp is shining, you bring an object, then you say, oh, see, look at the lamp is lighting up the pot. When you take out the pot, you say, no, the lamp is shining. The lamp is shining with or without the ghatadi. You bring the object or you take away the object, the lamp is just doing its swabhava role of shining. That's all it is. Jatyamani is like that. Agni is also like that. Agni does not burn. Agni dahati is a usage, vyavahara, but Agni jwalati, natu dahati really. Agni has no kartrutva of jwalana kriya, of dahana kriya. Agni just is, that's all. Shines similarly here. Now here, sannidhi ghatadinam sannidhi asannidhaneshu, in the presence of contact or nearness. Sannidhi is what? Presence of near presence. In the near presence of the objects, still avikriya. Yatha, similarly Atma. He'll explain similarly Atma. So here in the Tika, न केवलं विभ्रमेव दृष्टान्त किन्तु वास्तवपि इत्यतः यथोक्त जातो भव जात्य. Jato bhava, in a particular jati it is born or it is categorized, therefore it is called jatya. Jatya manihi, jatya manihi. Tatra शिखायाः स्वरूपेण अविक्रियत्वम् असंप्रतिपन्नम इत्यतः. By swarupa, in the presence of ghata, you say it is lighting up, prakashayati. Jwalant here say prakashayati. So avikriya sati api prakashayati iti vyavahara. न तो वास्तविक क्रिया अस्ति, विक्रिया अस्ति. प्रकाशन क्रिया वास्तविकी नास्ति. There is no real prakashana kriya. So here you say यथा तत्र शिखाया स्वरूपेण अविक्रियत्वम् असंप्रतिपन्नम इति आह. So now there can be an objection. By its very nature, is it lighting up or not? That is the question. When the ghatapatadi are there, then it lights up. When it is not there, then it shines. If you say, then now, what is its real swarupa? If that's the question, Siddhanti says, swarupena avikriya. Because avikriya, he has already said, 64th verse, avikriya. Jatyamanehe shikaha swarupena avikriya. This swarupena has not been mentioned here. This is the statement, avikriya. Avikriya means what? Swarupena avikriya. Purva Pakshi says, this is not acceptable. Tatra shikaya swarupena avikriyatam asampratipanam. Not agreeable. Has it been agreed upon? So the example, the ansha of the example, if it is sampratipanna, then alone you can extend it to the exemplified. If you say Atma is like this Jatyamani, Shikha is avikriya, similarly Atma is avikriya. Purva Pakshi says, but how do you claim that Jatyamani Shikha is avikriya? How do you claim that? I have to agree for you to extend that to the exemplified. So ityataha aha ayamatra iti. So Siddhanti says in the Sambandhokti ayamatra anshaha vivakshita iti jnapanaya, which is the ansha that is being carried out to the exemplified. Thereby Siddhanti brings up the shloka. There is a tika before that. अत्र दृष्टान्ते दार्ष्टान्तिको उपयोगी विवक्षिता अंशः इति ज्ञापनाय इत्यर्थः. So the Siddhanti said in the Mula, ayam atra अंशः विवक्षिता इति ज्ञापनाय. Meaning what? दृष्टान्ते दार्ष्टान्तिको उपयोगी विवक्षिता अंशः इति ज्ञापनाय. What is the useful part of the example which is extended to the exemplified. Iti jnapanaaya. To make that part known, Siddhanti brings up another shloka, which is useful for the exemplified. Thereby the next shloka, यदवस्था व्यनक्तीति तदवस्थैव सा पुनः भण्यते न व्यनक्तीति घटादीनामसन्निधौ. यदवस्था सिंगल वर्ड, व्यनक्ति इति तदवस्था एव सा पुनः भण्यते न व्यनक्ति इति घटादीनाम असन्निधौ. So sannidhi asannidhaneshu, that is being opened up here. He says यदवस्था व्यनक्ति इति तदवस्था एव सा पुनः. So he says being in the same avastha, yadavastha, ya avastha yasyaha, sa yadavastha, and tadavastha eva, meaning what? Sa avastha, sa eva avastha, yasyaha, sa tadavastha. This is samasa bahuri. So yadavastha tadavastha. Yathasthiti ityarth, meaning, so if you ask me, how are you doing? How's your health? I'll say it as usual, it is the same. My answer is what? As usual. When somebody asks me, I say as usual. Now, what that as usual is, you understand. Whether it is good or bad, I won't say. So it is as it is. No change. So if you think the earlier avastha was good, it is good. If you think it was bad, it is bad. So that is the case. Yadavastha. Siddhanti says now, Yadavastha. What was the avastha of the Shikha? Jatyamani Shikha. What was the avastha? Meaning with the ghata, what was the sthiti? Without the ghata, it is the same sthiti. Without the ghata, what was the sthiti? With the ghata also, it is same sthiti. Meaning what? Avikriya. Nothing has changed. That's the idea. Nothing has changed. So he says, oh, I don't accept it. You have to accept it. Why? Yadavastha vyanakti iti. It is moving. Vyanakti basically manifests. Prakashayati. Tadavastha sati eva. Being that in that very form, sa punaha shikha. What bhanyate? Na vyanakti iti bhanyate. So now it is not lighting up. Being in the same manner when ghatadinam asannidau. So you say ghatadinam sannidau vyanakti iti tadavastha sa punaha asannidau ghatadinam asannidau na vyanakti iti bhanyate. Bhanyate means kathyate. It is stated. The same shikha in the presence of the ghatadi is said to be what? Vyanakti, is lighting up. Vyanakti iti bhanyate yadavastha sati. So ghatadinam asannidhau, you can say, or sannidhau. First you will take sannidhau. So sannidhi word has not been mentioned here. So you have to add that. Ghatadinam sannidhau yadavastha sati shikha vyanakti iti bhanyate tadavastha eva sa punaha sati ghatadinam asannidhau na vyanakti iti bhanyate. So you have to reuse and make the construct. So being in whichever avastha you have seen this shikha, in the presence of ghatadi, is said to be as what? Is now lighting up prakashati. Ghatadi lights up the object. Being in the same form, not changing. Being in the same form, when you take away the ghata also, ghatadi asannidau, when ghatadis are taken away, na vinakti iti bhanyate. Now it is not lighting up. Now it is not lighting up you will say it is shining all right, but you will not say it prakashayati. Ghata, in the presence of ghatas, prakashayati, but without any change. Remaining in the same manner, when you take off the ghatas also, same thing. You will say what? Na prakashayati, na vinakti. So it does not shine upon the ghata. That's the vinakti here is, does not manifest the pot, does not show up the pot. You can say that is the idea of vinakti. So what abhivyanjaka na bhavati ityartha. So tatracha. So there's a tika. Okay, tika he says yadavastha iti. Thereby what? Jnapanaya ityartha. Then he says yadavastha. What is yadavastha? सो यदवस्थावती व्यनक्ति इति भण्यते, तदवस्थावती एव न व्यनक्ति इति भी भण्यते. The shikha has not changed. The Jatyamani shikha has not changed. But in the presence of ghata, etc., you change the terminology of the shikha itself. With the shatranta pada, oh, yadavasthavati vyanakti iti bhanyate. Or with the tinganta pada vyanakti iti, yeah, vyanakti. Because what was mentioned here, yadavastha, earlier the shatranta pada here, jwalanti, shubra, jwalanti, nischala. This is the idea. So, there vyanakti. But then after that, what? Navinakti does not manifest the pot, does not light up the pot, being the same thing. Yadavasthavati Vyanakti iti bhanyate, tadavasthavati eva na Vyanakti iti api bhanyate. How? How can you have viruddha prayoga, vyavahara, in vyavahara? He says, Ghatadi sannidhi asannidhanabhyam ityartha. Due to the hetu of the Ghata objects being there or not being there. So in the presence of the object, the Atma also takes the same role. Appears as though, Bhokta. In the absence of the Ahankara, the Shushupti, in Shushupti, you don't say no, na Venakti. Atma na prakashayati, kimapi na prakashayati, ajnanam prakashayati ityartha. So on Yadavasthavati, there is a tippana. Shikha iti shesha, yeah. So Shikha iti shesha, meaning from the earlier shloka, there is an anuvarti of Shikha. Jatyamanehe Shikha. Sorry. So this hetu is what? Ghatadi sannidhi sanidhya. So here sanidhya asannidhara. So here ghatadi sanidhya asannidha. So here this would be better instead of a. Sannidhi, because sannidhi asannidhi has been used. Asannidhana. Okay, so that is the idea. In the presence, near presence, proximity. In the proximity of the object, Atma also is like that. This is the idea in the exemplified. The Amsha which is going to be extended. Tatracha. So Siddhanti introduces the Sambandhokti there in the Tika. Drishtanta gatam artham dashtantike samarpayati. So now that you have understood which is the example, the Amsha of the example, the part of the example where the focus should be, he extends that. Samarpayati extends to the exemplified in the Atma. Tatra cha iti. So there's a tippana there also. Tatha cha iti matrukayam pratiko hastalikita pustake drishyate. Okay, so here there's tatha cha. Tatha cha is being mentioned here. Shikha iti shesha that we have seen. So tatra cha and tatra cha. Okay, so tatra cha instead of tatra cha, there is a patha veda of tatha cha. Okay. Hastalikita pustaka in the manuscript. सर्वधी व्यंजकस्तद्वत् परमात्मा प्रदीपकः सन्निधि सन्निध्य सन्निधानेषु धीवृत्तीनाम् अविक्रियः. So सर्वत्र धी व्यंजकः तद्वत्. So yadvat has been mentioned earlier, or yatha, similarly tadvat. Paramatma pradipakah sannidhya sannidhaneshu dhivrittinam avikriyah. So here he says Paramatma pradipakah tadvat paramatmaka pradipakah. How? Sarvadhi vyanjakah pradipakah. Paramatma is what? Similarly Paramatma, just like the Jatyamani Shikha, similarly Paramatma called as pradipakah, one who lights up. And what? Dhi vyanjakah. Sarvadhi vyanjaka. Sarvadhi vritti, buddhi vritti. Ahankaradi buddhi vritti nam vyanjakaha pradipakaha paramatma. Similarly, manifest the buddhi, etc. Satta spurti pradayaka ityartha. How? Is he really pradipaka? Sannidhi asannidhaneshu. If there is sannidhana of dhivritti nam sannidhi asannidhaneshu avikriyaha. Just like Jatyamani is called as avikriya, Shubra, Jwalanti, Nischala, Shikha, avikriya. Similarly, what? Sarvadhi vyanjakaha pradipakaha paramatma धीवृत्तीनां सन्निधि असन्निधानेषु अविक्रियः. Whether the dhivrittis are there or not there, Paramatma is avikriya. You can call him Pradipaka also. Why Sarvadhi Vyanjaka also when there is dhivritti sannidhi. When dhivritti sannidhi is not there in Shushupti Ityadi, avikriya. Then what about in the presence of the dhivritti? Then also avikriya. You can say विक्रियवान मीनिंग भोक्ता इत्यादि कर्ता भोक्ता इत्यादि भण्यते यदवस्था परमात्मा तदवस्था है परमात्मा व्हाट आल्सो व्हाट अविक्रिय इति भण्यते हाउ धीवृत्तीनां सन्निधि असन्निधानेषु दैट इज द आइडिया हियर और सन्निधि असन्निधानाभ्याम दैट इज द आइडिया सो सेम आइडिया इज extended to the exemplified. So in the Tika, nothing is there. The next shloka introduction says, Etareva prapanchayati. Elaborate this. Okay, just, words seem that we have heard in the example, but what is the meaning? Siddhanti says, I'll elaborate. So, na prakashayati. There's a tippana there. Janya kriya abhavepi adityadinam iva prakasha sannidhi upadikaha प्रकाशयति इति कर्तृत्वोपदेशः उपचारात् भवति इति चंद्रिकायां व्याख्यातम्. सो जन्य क्रिया अभावे अपि आदित्यादीनामिव प्रकाश्य सन्निधि उपादिका. So again the example of the Jatyamani was given here. Surya, Aditya, Ityadi, Adinam. So he say Jatyamani is not understood. So in the Tikakara has given Surya Adi. Whatever is Prakashaka like Jatyamani, you take any example of the source of light. So Surya, Aditya, Ityadi. So Prakashya Sannidhi, Prakashya object in the presence, proximity of the object. You don't see light, you see reflected light. So the example is what? Reflected light. So you see pot, etc. You see the reflected light. In the presence of the pot, you see the light. So you see the pot basically. And then you say, oh, the sun is lighting up. Sun is not lighting up. There is no kartrutva there. So prakasheti the kartrutva vyapadesha. Upacharat bhavati. It is a gauna prayoga. In Vyavahara use these terminologies, it is not a fact. There is no kartrutva in Surya to light up others. There is no kartrutva in Jatyamani Shika to light up the pot, etc. objects. Similarly, Atma does not have any kartrutva, bhoktrutva. That is the idea. Here, etareva prapanchayati na prakashayati. In the 67th verse, there is no sambandhokti. It is directly the verse. Na prakasha kriya kachid asya swatmani vidyate उपचारात् क्रिया सास्य यः प्रकाश्यस्य सन्निधिः. न प्रकाश क्रिया काचित् अस्य स्वात्मनि विद्यते उपचारात् क्रिया सा अस्य यः प्रकाश्यस्य सन्निधिः. So स्वात्मनि काचित् प्रकाश क्रिया अस्य न विद्यते. Swatmani na vidyate. That prakasha kriya that you talk about, asya atmana swatmani prakasha kriya kachid nasti eva na vidyate. With the satyartha here, meaning what sattartha na vidyate, nasti ityartha. But it is mentioned that there is a kriya, prakasha kriya, prakashayati, what about prakashayati? Here is Paramatma prakashayati. That idea is still there. Pradipakaha. When you say Paramatma Pradipaka, Dhivrittinam Sannidau. Then what do you say? Upacharat. Asya Paramatmanaha Upacharat Kriya. Upacharat. Kriya is said to be there in Paramatma Kartrutva Bhoktrutva. In Atma Paramatma, same meaning. Prakashasya Sannidhihi Yaha. Yaha Prakashasya Sannidhi, that proximity of the object, lightable object. Yaha Sa Asya Paramatmana Kriya. उपचारात् उच्यते विद्यते. सो क्रिया, दट इज द क्रिया. क्रिया भवति और उपचारात् क्रिया भवति. गौण प्रयोग. व्हाट इज दैट? व्हाट इज दैट क्रिया? ही सेज दैट प्रकाशस्य सन्निधि सा एव क्रिया. The presence of the object ahankaradi, that itself is the kriya of, is said to be the kriya of the atma. There is no kriya. The lighting up of the, just like the ghatadinam sannidhi is called as what? As what? Oh, prakashayati vyanakti iti bhanyate. Similarly, what? Here you say kriya iti bhanyate upacharat. There is no real kriya. In the next verse introduction, भेदस्य परमार्थत्वम् अंगीकुर्वद्भिः अपि सांख्यैः आत्मनः अविक्रियत्वं स्वीक्रियते. ततः वेदान्तराद्धान्तस्य को विशेषः इति आशंक्य विशेषं दर्शयितुम् आह मा एवमिति. So Purvapakshi says, what is the big deal? Sankhya's also say the same thing. What do Sankhya's say? They say, the Sankhya say Atma is avikriya. Atma has avikriyatva, means Atma is avikriya. Atma is without any kriya, without any vikara. They say Atma is avikara. Avikari Atma, they also say. So what is the difference between Vedanta Radhanta and what is the Vishesha? Radhanta is Siddhanta. Sankhya Siddhanta, Darshana and Vedanta Siddhanta, what is the difference? Because they accept what? Bhedasya paramarthatvam angikurvadbhi api Sankhya. What kind of Sankhyas are those? Sankhyas are those who accept the Bheda. In the Prapancha, they accept. Bheda is Paramarthika. There is a Prapancha, Jiva Prapancha, Jiva Ishvara, Ishvara Prapancha. So all these Vedas are acceptable to them. Of course, not. If you think further, they'll say Jiva is Atma. All right. Asanga Atma. But Bhokta, all right. Even then, Sambandha is there because the Shariradi are still there. Buddhyadi, not Shariradi. Buddhyadi is still there. Ahankaradi is accepted by them as real. So Bhedasya, the Bheda is real. Sambandha is Bhranti, but Bheda is real. In Moksha, Sankhya say the Atma, Anatma, Sambandha goes away. There is a Bhranti that there is a Sambandha with the Ahankaradi. And they say there is a Supreme Purusha. Purusha is Atma really, but Supreme Purusha they'll say. But the Purusha and the Anatma, Atma and Anatma will say. Purusha means Atma. Atma and Anatma, Prakritadi, Prakriti Pradhanadi, Ahankaradi, Mahadadi, all of these, they are all real. Vedasya Paramarthatvam Angikurvadbhihi Sankhyayi api. Atmana Vikriyatvam Svikriyate. They also accept Atma is Avikriya, but they say Bheda is real. So you also accept it. What is the difference? They say Sambandha is not real. Sambandha is Bhranti and Moksha is not having Sambandha with the real Buddhyadi, Ahankaradi. So what is the difference? You are also saying Asanga Atma. They say Asanga Atma. So to this, Siddhanti says, what? Iti ma evam iti. So we'll look at this in the next part. Ma evam is the Sambandhokti to the 68th verse. यत् साक्षात् सच्चिदानंदम प्रत्यगद्वयम् अक्रियं तन्नमामि नृस्यस्य योगी गम्यं परम पदम. नमस्ते, धन्यवाद.